Caitlin Clark
and
I'm a fan. Angel Reese, right? Yeah. They're going back and forth. And Jamil Hill says by the time Angel Reese is done, she's going to be the Michael Jordan of WNBA.
She said about Angel Reese?
She said Angel Reese, by the time she retires, can you pull up this quote? She said, by the time she retires, she will be...
Angel Reese's ego trip was abruptly stopped by Stephen A. Smith, leaving skid marks. Believe me, this isn't a glamorous Netflix special with a prearranged fall from grace. Instead, Angel made a move that had the if you thought the hardwood drama peaked with buzzer beers, the internet is collectively gasping. Hold on, Stephen, instead of simply dropping a microphone, set it on fire. Now, get ready for the big question. What did Angel do?
It's not about black and white. It's about that white player and that black player. Why? Because of the history that they had before they came to the WNBA. You see, it was all instigated. If Angel Reese was never in Caitlin Clark's face, taunting her the way that she did when they mimicking what Caitlin Clark was doing to numerous opponents en route to the Final Four. And then Angel Reese and LSU bust their living, you know what, at that particular moment in time. And Angel Reese was in her face chirping at her the way that she did, it would have never.
Points yes, Angel, that's it. With Caitlin Clark iced on the bench like she's posing for a sports drink and half-wrapped in ice the other way. Reese scored for points like she was on a scoring diet while sitting atop a pile of rebounds, hope partially wrapped even though. Angel had the ball, the spotlight, and the opportunity to shine. She was unable to do so, and her stat line is blatantly unimpressive. If you're eagerly awaiting Reese's next blooper, then leave a comment below, and let's go.
First of all, it's not rivalry. Not when you lose about 35 points.
That's true.
It's not rivalry. Indiana Fever's on a different level than the Chicago Sky. Let's get that out the way. Secondly, as much as we love Angel Reese because she is special, she's not Caitlin Clark as a player. Caitlin Clark is in a different league.
While Caitlin Clark was sidelined in the national narrative, Angel's contribution to the game was so impressive. This performance, however, was less I'll show them and more oops, I forgot where the hoop was, dull. It could have included a card of courteous apology with 4 points, which is not a stat line, but rather a request for assistance from someone who just discovered they are trying out for an exit interview.
Excited to see Caitlin Clark and Indiana Fever take on Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky. The game was a blowout as the Fever beat down Chicago 93-58, with Clark's triple-double leading the way. But the biggest headline coming out of the game on Saturday is the investigation the WNBA is conducting into allegations of hateful fan comments directed at Angel Reese. It happened after this play when Clark slapped at the ball.
She did get those 12 rebounds, and she does treat them like cash, as if each one were worth a free dinner at Chick-fil-A. However, she is acting as though scoring double digits is a chore, similar to the WNBA, by grabbing rebounds without buckets. Stated here's the opportunity to do more. Nah, she replied. I'll pass. She seems to be approaching scoring as a nice to have, but unnecessary luxury item.
It's part 38! Let's give it!
Life throws her lemons. She makes bricks. Bang! PSA to anyone watching. She is right-handed. Right-handed, by the way. She missed the rim by 3 feet, man. Bang! I gotta say, this is my favorite summer sitcom. Pecan? Butter pecan? Bang! Here's a stat. She's been blocked 20 times, and she's only made 21 hoops.
What?
Even the broadcast crew attempts to minimize the damage. A difficult night. Perhaps she spent the evening running laps in sneakers that hadn't seen the light of day because she made an appearance on a reality show. Rim since college, the camera has even captured her in a glaze, as if she were applying in her head for a spin-off series of the WNBA's Genuine Stat Hoarders, where appearance is more important than stats.
All in it from day one. You got people that are resentful towards her. But it's really not about her, guys. It's about what she represents. Before she ever came along, there were a lot of outstanding basketball players who happened to be black females that was doing their thing on the WNBA level. And they never got this kind of shit.
And take a peek even though Angel's confidence was unwavering and her lashes, hair, and swagger were flawless for days. The 4-point episode shouted, I peaked in college. Isn't the long-awaited Bayou Barbie conquest? Instead, it's becoming the WNBA's Desperate Housewives, with Angels pouring over a lone Pinot. The noise is loud enough to wake the NCAA archives. "Where's everyone gone?" I asked, despite being double-teamed. Elbowed and iced, Caitlin Clark continues to score, throw out assists, and make three-pointers as if she were playing in her backyard gym. She doesn't just show up, she shows off. Angel had the ideal setup, but Caitlin didn't pay close attention when the microphone was handed to her, and she still flopped.
Just a second, but before I do that, I want to ask you your thoughts about apparently some racial animus that was thrown in the direction of Angel Reese. The Chicago Sky have gotten involved, talking about they're going to protect their players at all costs. The WNBA has issued a statement saying it abhors and discourages hate of any kind, et cetera, et cetera. Your thoughts about it? Here's the WNBA statement. The WNBA strongly condemns racism, hate, and discrimination in all forms. They have no place in our league or in society. We are aware of the allegations and are looking into the matter. Your thoughts about that element of all of this, where you believe it emanates from, and do you think it will...
The big stat line that bounces back Angel was out there grabbing rebounds like Pokemon cards, saying to capture them all and then never using them. Sure, 12-board shout hustle, but rebounds aren't the same as impact. You can box out 3 players and yet watch your jumper clang off the front rim. That big stat line that bounces back Angel was out there grabbing rebounds like Pokemon cards, saying to capture them all and then never using them. Sure, 12-board shout hustle, but rebounds aren't the same as impact. You can box out 3 players and yet watch your jumper clang off the front rim.
That Stephen A. is quite the thing to think on. I think when you go back to the impetus of the rivalry that we have between Caitlin and Angel Reese, I remember funny clips on the internet.
19 of 59 from less than 5 feet away. How about that, man? Bang! She should work at housekeeping for hotels because she could turn it over quickly. Lost by 27, scored only 4 points against the Indiana Fever. To mention no Caitlin Clark, no problem, give and go. Like a given no shot of working. Bang!
You prefer car or plane?
Car or plane for what? For how you want to travel! That's too many steps and you can't do that.
I've yet to see a single moment where Angel Reese steps up as a leader unless we're counting her rebounding her own missed layups. So I have to ask, what exactly does Angel Reese do on that court? Because from where I'm sitting, I'm not seeing it. And look, I know I'm being harsh, but if you're going to crown yourself a star, then you better show up like one when it matters most. The whispers are growing louder. And yeah, those same whispers say Angel once compared herself to Michael Jordan. This ain't high school anymore. You don't get to dance around with pep rally energy. If you're not scoring, you're not playing, period. Let's talk about last night. Caitlin Clark goes down injured, and suddenly, the spotlight is Angel's. This was her moment to shine. And yet, for 27 long minutes she vanished. The one time the entire court belonged to her, and she became invisible. This was supposed to be her takeover moment. Instead, she's become a punchline in highlight reels during what was hyped as her breakout year. Remember the Milk Crate Challenge? That's Angel's season. Started with a risky high step, and now we're all just watching her crash and no one's reaching out to catch her. Because the truth is, Angel's popularity was never just about her game. A lot of it came from that viral rivalry with Caitlin Clark. When Caitlin was taunting players back in college, it was Angel who brought that energy back at her during LSU's title run. That moment went viral. That's what made Angel a household name. But since then, the spotlight's been heavy. The hate mail came in, the pressure built, and now she's buckling. Not because she lacks talent, but because the expectations no longer match the production. And don't get it twisted, people wanted her to succeed. Angel Reese entered the WNBA as the storyline. The Bayou Barbie, the drama, the flair, a walking media frenzy. The WNBA could promote her for months on that charisma alone. But unless she's performing postmodern sports satire on inefficiency, this just isn't it. The fans are logging on, watching the games, and asking, wait, that's it. For points isn't just disappointing, it's becoming symbolic. Twitter wasn't celebrating last night, it was confused, again for points. She grabs rebounds like a pro, but offensively, she's disappeared like a left AirPod. And even her die-hard fans are trying to reframe the conversation. You've seen the posts. We need to talk about how Angel Reese is actually good, you just don't understand basketball. Karen, please. She's glitching like a flip phone in 2025, and while the Sky were getting destroyed, annihilated, cremated, roasted by the fever. The wildest part was this: Caitlin Clark, injured and sitting on the bench, still dominated the conversation. That's how awkward this is. Angel's playing 30 minutes and struggling to make an impact, while Caitlin, sipping electrolytes with her ankle wrapped, still feels like the most powerful presence in the arena. At this point, front office whispers are getting louder. Will they bench her, rest her for development? That's code for, this isn't a slump, it's a problem. Chicago didn't need a TikTok sensation. They needed a franchise player. Instead, they got a rebounder with a scoring allergy. And here's where it gets personal. I'm tired of the double standard. Who exactly is hating on Caitlin Clark? Every time she steps on the floor, she drops 40 points of backlash and another 35 points of praise. But here's the truth. Teams want hoopers, not just lashes and captions. If you're going to go viral on social media, you've got to do more than shoot for 12 and vibe. Angel needs to wake up. This isn't LSU anymore. The WNBA doesn't hand out minutes for effort. There are no participation trophies for cardio. And right now, Angel's box score looks like it got hacked. If Stephen A. Smith saw it, he'd clean his glasses and shout for points. Angel spent more time on her pregame outfit than her shooting form. Matching boots, jacket, gloves, and cap. Fashion icon, sure, but that won't keep you on the court. And every minute she plays without production increases the pressure. This isn't college. This is the big leagues, and if your efficiency drops, so will your playing time. She's not just playing basketball, she's fighting to stay relevant. The league moves on fast. The hype dies faster than a Twitter trend. Right now, Angel Reese isn't living up to the player they hoped she'd be. She's becoming a warning label, a liability, and it doesn't matter how bright the spotlight was if you can't deliver under it. Let's talk coaching. Tyler Marsh has been tasked with the impossible in locking the puzzle that is Angel Reese. He's tried every small ball lineup, every oddball role. He might as well start drawing plays in hieroglyphics, because if she's only scoring 4 points, it doesn't matter where you put her: half court, low post, high elbow, nothing's working. We've got a problem, Chicago. And while Angel's trying to figure it out, Caitlin Clark came into this league with no break, became an all-star, placed 4th in MVP voting, and walked away with Rookie of the Year. Even on her worst day, Caitlin affects the game, dropping dimes, launching logo threes, dictating the tempo. She's injured ... and still owns the headlines. Meanwhile, Angel's stat line reads like a Wi-Fi password, confusing and full of zeros. And here's the kicker: when the ball touches Angel's hands, the crowd doesn't cheer. They groan. They're bracing for disappointment. And the coaching staff, they're moving her like musical chairs, desperate for something that works. That's not a system. That's survival. Look, I feel for Angel. I really do. This isn't about her character. This is about the harsh truth that Caitlin Clark is just better at Angel's best skill. Better everywhere. She's tied for 3rd in WNBA history for triple doubles. Angel's still trying to figure out how to score outside of putbacks. There are younger, hungrier players waiting for their shot. And Caitlin's not coming back just to compete, she's coming back to own the league. So when she drops 20 a night again, Angel's ghost games are going to look even more painful. This league doesn't need another brand ambassador. It needs ballers. Angel either finds her rhythm soon, or that preseason hype, nil fame, and marketing buzz will vanish like smoke. The numbers, they're not lying. And look, I'm not here to pile on. But when you take down your own posts, clearly, you feel something's wrong. And I get it, you're young. You're 22. We all made mistakes at that age, but that doesn't ease the pressure. And for Chicago's front office, this feels like an identity crisis they built around her. Now, the product's broken, and behind the scenes, you can feel the tension. Imagine grinding on the bench for 10 minutes while Angel strolls through 30 doing cardio with nothing to show. You promised fans a generational rivalry: Angel versus Caitlin, LSU versus Iowa, Bayou Barbie versus Midwestern Sniper. And what did they get? One sprained ankle, Clark still hitting highlights, and Angel running around the court like a Peloton instructor on low resistance mode. If Caitlin stays healthy, she could become the Jackie Robinson of modern WNBA stardom. Not the first white player, but the first white superstar on this level. That's history. That's culture shift. That's Steph Curry energy, someone people care about, and if this keeps going, Angel Reese fading into the shadows won't just be disappointing, it'll be tragic. Because branding gets you attention, but production? That's what makes you last. So unless Angel turns this around soon, the Sky season will be nothing but a highlight reel of what could have been. Because the WNBA doesn't wait, you perform or you're gone. And if you're waiting for Reese's next blooper, go ahead and leave a comment, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because unless she steps up, we won't be watching a rivalry, we'll be watching a rerun.